And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's a bit of a shame, actually. You know, if they'd waited 6 months, they would have had a Syrian refugee camp in Berlin.
Wow, that was really good, actually. No, that was very well constructed as a joke. Mike, that's top quality intellectual humor.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle? Season 9, Episode 15, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me I have a man who this week knocked down an emo kid in his car and couldn't figure out if she was dead on the outside too. Mike the McDonough. Live from Vegas, we have a man who reckons he was put in this earth so unstable people would have someone to date. It's Shaun Leonard.
Oh, so
And in the red corner, it's our cuddly killer, a man who received a restraining order from the deli counter cheese sample lady. It's Mark, superhero Leonard. This week we'll be discussing some movies in the shape of Sicario and Navy SEALs versus zombies, and some TV in the form of Blood and Oil. Of course, we'll have some of the usuals with the news and some previews, and coming to a bicycle near you. So how are we doing? Welcome back, Shaun.
thanks, guys. Been away for a while.
You've been busy, huh?
Mm-hmm. Been busy
hipsters.
trying to get busy.
Yeah, tell us. What you been doing?
Well, as avid bicyclist, what are they called, our listeners?
Bicyclers.
Bicyclists.
Yeah.
As avid listeners will know, I've been filming a feature, a small part in a feature over here in Las Vegas. And I've been basically just been called upon every week at recording time for the podcast to go lend my prodigious talents to adding some humor to the varied layers of Death to False Hipsters, the upcoming film. I had my first on-screen makeout sesh. It's a weird thing to have to do. Basically, it was a situation where I didn't get a chance to meet this lady until a minute before we filmed.
Oh, lovely.
So there was no
or
like
what we used to call Saturday night.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, what's the difference between that and dance floor snogging, you know?
Well, it's that everyone is watching you and you have someone describing to you what you should be doing.
Now move your hand
And
down.
also they're filming it forever. So it was kind of awkward, but here's the thing, right? It could have been a lot less awkward. Because I just introduced myself and went, you do know, you've read the script, right? And she's like, oh yeah, yeah, I've read the script. It's ha ha ha, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But she didn't really give it the gusto that I felt the part was demanding. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where she was still, haha, this is kind of weird, ha ha ha. Whereas the joke was supposed to be two people see each other and then just leap at each other and start snogging. But if only one of the people is really fully committing to that, then that person, me, looks like a creeper.
So you're saying you weren't feeling it?
I was. I don't know if she was feeling it. I'm just a little worried it's going to come out as a different joke to the joke we set out to tell.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was a good experience, and I'm excited to see it all come together on screen.
Cool. When's that due then?
When's that due? Well, it's in post-production now. They may have a couple of pickups to do, but principal photography is finished. There won't be any real effects, and I don't think there's going to be any color correction. So it could conceivably be done and ready to be sent off to film festivals as early as spring next year. I'm not sure yet what festivals it's going to be going to. But yeah, 19-day shoot,
Wow.
20 or so grand, a lot of craft services, some makeups, some breakups, and a whole lot of heart. So I'm looking forward to it.
Very good. Showbiz.
Showbiz.
So I reached a decision a little while ago,
Is this...
and that was that I wanted to get a tattoo.
Oh, right. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Or what my brother-in-law this evening labelled my midlife crisis. So I am literally years talking about it. And my wife hit upon a cunning plan a few years ago to make sure that I would never, ever do it. Well, I'm not sure that was her intention, but my suspicions are it was. She goes, I have no problem you getting a tattoo, but you should really wait until you're in shape. Now, she was saying this to a 30-something-year-old who had retired from MMA and had no good reason to get in shape. But as luck would have it, I accidentally found myself in shape again this year. So then I kind of went, you know what? That tattoo I always wanted is now within my reach. So I went planning and trying to figure out what I wanted. And I realized that a lot of what I've done in my life came from doing taekwondo. So I thought, why not get the taekwondo tree? And this causes great confusion with people that have no idea about Korean calligraphy. Because, of course, the taekwondo tree is actually 3 Korean characters stacked atop each other, which mean taekwondo, the art of foot and hand.
It's actually,
and they're all kind of going like, you're getting a tree? But anyway, to make a long story short, I found myself in Derry in a tattoo shop on Saturday. And I described my tattoo to the girl behind the counter, which was fine. And then I said, and also I had a motto that I used to say back when I did taekwondo that I've kept with me that I'd like included in this design, which is sometimes the only way around is through. And I think it's something we should all live by. But that isn't the goal of the story. So I said, it would be fun if that text went around and through the Korean letters. And then one very learned fellow down the back who was in the middle of a tattoo goes, if you change the letters, you'll change the meaning. Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
It's a fair point. I said, yeah, that's not what I meant. Same letters, just use the gaps. What about like if it was an A, you'd go through the A hole. See what I did there? Yeah. So it was this produced incredible consternation. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, I don't think we've ever tried anything like this before. I'm not sure that the human mind can do this. So they sent me packing anyway. Basically, there would be no walk-in tattoo for me. They had to sit down and think about this, and some of the finest tattoo minds in that parlour got together to try and figure it out. But I was a bit of a minor celebrity when I went in there this evening, so I've just actually had it done now.
all of it.
Yeah, it's done.
Wow.
It's done. The Korean letters and the text that I wanted around it. What she actually came up with was a figure 8.
Yeah.
Which I'm reasonably sure is the second most popular configuration in tattoo artistry.
Okay.
You know, like upright, it's a figure 8. Flat, it's the infinity symbol.
All
and
right,
apparently people love infinity, especially when they're inking themselves.
Ah, so plenty of practice.
Yeah.
So she probably has plenty of practice.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I've drawn it. But I landed in there and there was this one guy behind the counter who's also a tattoo artist. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Oh, you're the martial arts guy. Oh man, I wish I was here when you came in. That sounded like a cool idea for a tattoo." And then they all kind of gathered round when she put the trace on me. Like, but it's weird. I don't know if any of you've ever been tattooed, but it's like you're being scratched by a very insistent woman who doesn't know where the line is. And it lasts for an hour. At least. Well, mine was a bit over an hour, but
did you give her your safe word? You know, mbop.
The irony is, if I ever do need a safe word, it'll probably be that now. Thanks, Steve.
Mbop.
No, it was fine. She was cool about it. She was like, "If you need a break, just take one." And I was kind of here like, I'm retired in my midfighter, I won't need any breaks. At least that's what was going on in my head. But no, once she started every day, it was going to be fine. Like, it's like I described it. It's uncomfortable, but it's not sore. Like, it's nothing to be worried about. Like.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So I'm now a tattooed individual.
Yeah. Yeah. They're normally pretty strict about the hour, aren't they?
Wrong kind of parlour, Mike.
No, Mike.
What'd you say, Mark?
I said, well, you would know about paying by the hour, Mike.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Because we were just having a discussion last week about how grotty and unsightly it would be to have a tattoo. How I'd never ever do it.
I think that was you talking about that, Mike. So, are you all cellophaned up then?
No, the cellophane is off now.
Ah, right.
And
Okay.
it was a while ago. Like, it's only an hour and a half you keep the cellophane on for.
Ah, okay.
And then it comes off. So I've de-cellophaned. I've washed the area. you really figure out how much abrasion there is in water when your skin is incredibly tender. It's like you put the soap on and rinse it, and then once it's finished rinsing the soap and it's water and skin, it's really fucking sore. It's unbelievable. But anyway, so yeah, I am part of the population of the tattoo people.
So was it done with needles or prison style with a big bar, or?
It was done by a kind of an ink vibrator.
A shank.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
Cool. Well,
good.
congratulations
So-
on your new tattoo, Mark.
So have you caught the bug now? Will you be going back for more? And
Well, no, I have to take a beat now.
yeah.
Because it's like I immediately started thinking about what other stuff would look good, but I want to let that pass.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing anything for at least a year, and if I fancy another one in a year's time, I might look at it. But for now, that's it. Because if you get two fairly quickly, why the hell would you stop? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. What do they call sleeves when they're on your legs? No, I'm just wondering. Is it like a I don't know, trouser leg or something? I don't know.
Where
Leggings.
did you get it, Mark? Actually,
On his leg.
just in a parlour in Derry.
where on your body?
Oh, sorry, Shaun, on my right thigh.
Okay.
Okay, cool. You'll have to post a picture of it up on our Facebook page, so everyone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do
And
that.
knows what a Korean tree is. Or Taekwondo tree, sorry, not Korean tree. Yeah, so anyway, what did we see this week? Don't start with rugby. 'Cause there was rugby on,
that's
yeah.
all
yeah.
I've watched.
Yeah, Rugby
all
World
I've
Cup.
watched for the last
Yeah.
month has been fucking
Yeah.
rugby.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So I won't say anything.
Okay, Mark, did you get to Empire? Empire Season 1, Episode 1. That was your homework. You didn't do your homework again. God's sake.
I thought it was like a labour of joy when we did things for this podcast. I've watched all of Heroes Reborn. I'm up to date with Heroes Reborn.
really?
Great old show.
All right. That's what, episode
It's-
5 or 6?
Are you liking it?
Yes, it's paying dividends. I'm enjoying it a lot. I've watched. It's been 5 episodes that have aired over here.
Yeah.
I don't know where the States is, Shaun. But I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Cool.
I've been keeping up with it as well. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes pretty much just like in a row, and I was pretty happy with them. But as I've been having to wait a week now, and I like think about the story as things are happening, it's doing a thing that the first season of Heroes kind of had, but it's much more glaring to me as a viewer, where I really like some of the characters and stories, and then think that the other ones are complete tripe, and I hate them. Like, you know, I don't know, what do you think of, like, I'm specifically thinking of girl who can go inside of video games because of a sword for some reason.
Yeah. That's a very strange,
And
what do you call it, storyline. Yeah.
and Mexican luchador superhero Iron Man armor somehow.
Yeah. Kind of blows hot and cold, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Well, like,
I like
I like the general story. Like Shaun, you weren't on a couple of weeks ago. We talked about it, about the pilot, and we came up with the fact that Asian storyline was just a bit ridiculous and pointless, maybe. But as the episodes are going on, it is starting to tighten up closer, at least, to a single narrative, and I'm pretty sure we'll get very close and to a single narrative as the season winds up. And that's why I'm starting to enjoy it more, probably as time is going by. But to begin with, it seemed like, well, we had Hiro Nakamura in the first Heroes. We need some random Japanese person in this one too. And it was just so annoying.
Yeah, no, I agree. What I did like was they clearly tried their best to get their new like tagline catchphrase. Like, remember they had save the cheerleader, save the world back around episode 6 in the first ever season of Heroes. Episode 5 had forget the past, save the future, which seems to be their new call sign, which I'm interested in. I'm interested to see how that plays out.
I got to, like I was saying, Empire. Mark, I can see why it's making a lot of noise in the US.
Why that, Steve? Why so?
Because it's good. It's good. Because it is good. And it's Empire. It's about the Empire, a music empire.
Okay.
This dude who's really good at what he does.
All right.
Really, really, really good. And
Good enough to make a TV show about.
good enough to make a TV show about it. But he's got a few sons, and he doesn't know which one to leave the empire to. And then he's also got rivals, stuff, and things happen. But it's really good. It's worth picking up if you haven't seen it. It doesn't really remind me of anything that I can compare to, apart from maybe I don't know. No, it doesn't really. But it's it's good. Dialogue's good. Like screenplay and so on. It's really good. It's quality writing. All right.
When is it set?
Modern day. And there's let me see. There's a bit of singing in it, Mark, which I think would be up your street. It's some really good singing in it.
Really? Is
Really.
it like Glias?
No. Fuck no. It's more like there's like one song, maybe two songs in it, but they're in context in a studio, and it's just showing your man's skill at getting the best out of someone. Like that's the purpose of it. But it's just very well done.
Is Katie Sackhoff in it?
Katie Sackhoff? No, I'm afraid not.
All right.
No.
Just checking.
What else I get to? Fargo is back. Fargo.
How is it, Steve?
Oh man, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's also based on a true story where all the names are changed. But it's set in 1979 and it's still in the Fargo world. Ted Danson's in it. Kirsten Dunst's in it. Patrick Wilson's in it. Macaulay Culkin's brother Kieran's in it, and he's really good.
Jesse Plemons, Meth Damon.
Yes. I don't know about the last one.
The last one is Jesse Plemons got big in Breaking Bad, and he looks a lot like Matt Damon.
Oh, he
in
does.
that.
He does.
So Meth Damon.
Oh, Meth Damon. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely worth a watch. And the one thing that really stands out is the cinematography. It's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, the shots are just brilliant. There's just several times where it just went, wow. But it's a great setup for the season, and I can't wait to see more. I believe episode 2 was shown last night. So, what else I see? The Principal, which is a new series, season 1, episode 1. Yeah, it is about a principal who returns to the school that he sort of went to when he was a kid.
Okay,
but it's a very rough school.
Right.
It's in Australia, and so he's back as the principal.
Okay.
And some of his old teachers are still there, and they're just like, yeah, fuck, this is bullshit, and we've been through shit loads of principles, and what difference are you going to make, kind of thing. And he's like, give me 2 weeks to make a difference, not to fix it, make it different. And so it goes from there. And this kind of blows hot and cold. Sometimes I was thinking, oh yeah, this could be good. Oh no, no, it's not going to be good. Oh yeah, it might be good. Yeah, no. So I sort of at the end of it, I was sort of like, yeah, it's filler. I'm afraid.
Right.
But it had such potential there for a few minutes, There's some really good scenes in it.
So it's not a comedy?
No, it's not a comedy, no.
Yeah. When you said
No,
Australian
it's not
school,
like-
I was thinking of... what the hell was that called?
Ah, Jesus. But I don't ask me. The guy who dresses up as various characters, he plays most of them. Yeah, I can't remember his name. Yeah. Did you see anything else this week? Leonardi's?
I was watching an awful lot of Limitless, as much as I could get my hands on.
4 of them.
Yes, indeed. I was really, really happy. It's lived up to my expectations of it, which I actually set pretty high after the pilot. But it's just really funny.
It is,
like it's so fun. Like there's that one sequence in the second episode where there's like it changes the cinematography style for like a foot chase, the classic cop foot chase, and we have Deborah Morgan, toned down diet Deborah Morgan, running down the streets, eventually tackles the guy. And just fuck it. And she says something like, you ran like a rabbit, now you're going to die like a snake. And it cuts back to her in real life. Just going, why would I say that?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And he's just like, well, you don't let me go on the takedown, so let me imagine them how I want to imagine them. It's just, they have enough inventive stuff like that every episode that the like case of the week is always interesting to me, which a lot of procedurals I start to not care about. And they're doing a good job of teasing out the overall like situation of, how is he going to get out of this weird, messed up situation he's in? And I care about him. They did an amazing job of just literally going, do you by any chance care about this person and their love life? Well, not yet. Well, what if we add in a little bit of this? How about now? You like him? And I was just like, yes, oh my God, I want him to be happy. Why is it so tough for him? Oh my God, he's just like me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, so do I. And, it reminds me of a few things. Like, it's kind of, it's not fantastic. It's not perfect, but it's very enjoyable. So it kind of reminds me of Elementary and kind of a bit of Suits as well.
Yeah, it does have an American. It's almost like what the BBC Sherlock does. It's kind of doing in a much lighter, less pompous way.
Yes. Bastard. Right. Yeah. I'm going to continue watching that too. Yeah. Yeah.
The rest of my life.
I wanted to talk to Shaun. I've been waiting for weeks to talk to Shaun about the Hannibal finale.
Oh, God.
Did you like it or did you not like it?
So remember, it was kind of weird that it had like a half season, like split up type thing. And you were saying, "Oh, great last episode of Hannibal," and I was like, "Mike, there's like 6 more."
That totally threw me.
Yeah, I thought it was so well done. Not just like the half season storyline with the Great Red Dragon and the William Blake and stuff like that. I really did like that because it's classic Hannibal, right? It's like we're going to become this thing we investigate, or maybe we already are, etc., etc. I think it was the best love story I've seen on TV this year, if not in a long while. Like that final sequence, last like 10 minutes of it, all the way from a glass of wine breaking, harkening back to the teacup that broke at the end of season 1. Dude, like, holy hell, that image of the fight at the end,
was a thing of beauty.
Beautiful, like, it was the perfect combination of character, cinematography, plot, and dialogue. Like, it was just, I felt so much for them. And I went, this is the only way it ever could have ended.
Yeah.
Were you feeling the same?
I was. The only thing about that series that I didn't like was the lack of opportunity for cooking. Because it was such a big thing in the first two series, and it was kind of knocked on its head in the third one. If there is to be a fourth, I would hope they would rectify that. But other than that, I just love that show. But
so good.
It's kind of, I thought the third series wasn't as accessible as the first two. Like there's virtually nobody, no main character is still sane by the end of it. So if you're not kind of built up into the wavelength, you kind of turn around and go, what the fuck are these guys on,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because you can pick out certain episodes, and it'd be interesting to look through a list of writers and directors for each episode, because there's some, like the one where Lawrence Fishburne and Mads Mikkelsen get to have their big action sequence, we'll say.
Yeah.
That one felt exactly like season 1 of Hannibal to me. That made me just kind of go, fucking yeah, like this is exactly like what it's always been. And then there were the other episodes that were even more art house than Hannibal usually is.
Yeah, but
very ambitious, but well done.
Yeah, I think they pulled it off. God bless them.
Cool.
I think they stuck the landing. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Next up, we'll go to the news. So, Minority Report.
Oh, yeah.
The TV series. Not getting great viewing numbers.
No.
So Fox has actually cut back the number of episodes ordered from 13 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be sending out the CV if you heard that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You remember Extant?
Definitely. Yeah.
Cancelled.
Oh.
Because it's true.
Dominion?
Yep.
Cancelled.
All right.
Oh.
Well, they got 2 series out of it.
Remember Defiance?
Yeah.
Cancelled. Remember America's Next Top Model? That's been running for 12 years.
Yeah.
Last season.
Oh.
Tyra Banks. I'm sure she'll find a job pretty quickly. Do you remember Rookie Blue?
No.
No, neither did I. That's cancelled. Do you remember Under the Dome?
Yes.
Cancelled.
Yeah, fuck that show.
What else?
Slight spoiler.
Yeah.
I saw an episode of that a while back.
Mm-hmm.
They were outside the dome.
No way.
Yeah. And
Maybe the inner dome.
the funny thing about it was they were locked out. They couldn't get back in.
Where's the goddamn door gone?
My fucking agoraphobia gone.
What else last season? Final season of American Idol, Beauty and the Beast, Banshee, Continuum, Da Vinci's Demons, Haven, Jesse, and The League. Right?
Uh-huh.
Remember Graceland?
Yep.
Cancelled.
Fuck
Cancelled.
you, man.
Remember Proof?
Yes.
Cancelled. And
I've seen a pattern here, Steve.
yeah, Chasing Life cancelled. And do you remember Bridget Jones' Diary?
Yes.
Renewed. With a new movie coming up, you'll be delighted to know. I knew you'd be delighted to know, Mike.
Yeah.
So Renee Zellweger and Colin Firth will be back for Bridget Jones's Baby.
Did I hear something about her hiring a personal trainer to help her to get fat for it?
I think that's called a menu, Mike.
I'll just have everything. Yeah. So she, unexpectedly finds herself pregnant, and hilarity ensues, I believe. Remember Die Hard 6? No, because it's going to be made.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's called Die Hard Year 1. So Live Free or Die Hard director Len Wiseman and producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura will be, or they're on board anyway. So it's going to be set in 1979. We get to see how the gritty John McClane became so damn gritty. So Mark, you'll be delighted to hear that.
So they're going to give him a toupee, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll flash forwards or something.
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting together with Cinemax, and Cinemax have ordered a script of Martin's werewolf noir novel, The Skin Trade.
Right.
So the selling line on this, right, is a collections agent who happens to be a werewolf and his friend, a private investigator. Oh, there's a genre. Oh, fuck. I thought it was going to be a gender mix. Could be yet. Could be gender fluid. Discover a dark secret behind a series of grisly murders in their decaying industrial city.
Hang on, they're not asking him to write it, though.
No, he's written it. He wrote it years ago.
Oh, yeah, he wrote the novel, but he doesn't have to do the script. Because then he wouldn't be spending time finishing that fucking book that he's supposed to finish 10 years ago.
No, they've ordered a script based on the novel.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, get your ass in gear and finish that damn novel. What was it, 8 years now?
It's fucking 20 years writing the damn thing.
Homeland was in the news as well, due to graffiti. Racist graffiti.
Shocking.
They hired some Arabian street artists, is what they were looking for, actually, to convert Berlin to a refugee camp on the Syria-Lebanese border. So, angered by the show's political message, which has linked Al-Qaeda to Iran, its highly biased depictions of Arabs, Pakistanis, and Afghans, and its gross misrepresentations of the cities of Beirut, Islamabad, and the so-called Muslim world in general, which is probably true, yeah. The trio said it was they decided to strike back. So they said it was their moment to make their point by subverting the message using the show themselves. So they wrote on the walls the graffiti that were meant to do. So they wrote in Arabic, so no one checked it. And so they put up, Homeland is racist. And there is no Homeland.
Right.
And Homeland is a watermelon, which is apparently a word often used in Arabic to indicate something shouldn't be trusted. So Homeland is not a series, is another one. Homeland is a joke and didn't make us laugh. And Freedom, now in 3D. Yeah. So
it's a bit of a shame, actually. You know, if they'd waited 6 months, they would have had a Syrian refugee camp in Berlin.
Oh, Jesus, Mike.
Wow, that was really good, actually. No, that was very well constructed as a joke, Mike. That's top quality intellectual humor.
Jeez, that's funny. So there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. Talk among yourselves for a second.
I've got one.
Yeah, good,
Steve.
Good. Yeah.
So there was a hashtag going around after a trailer came out. A trailer we're going to be talking about in this very podcast. It's the most recent Star Wars trailer. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. It was hashtag boycott Star Wars episode 7.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of weird. I'll just give that a cursory glance, because there's probably some people, you know, like basically going, oh, like it's going to be terrible because Star Wars is like, you know, supposed to be precious and they're like ruining it, yada, yada. Nope. It's actually a bunch of people who think that the new Star Wars series are anti-white.
Yeah.
Because, the struggles of the white man in Hollywood have for so long been an issue that they feel they need to, take a stand against what is it, one person of color who's a main character in the new Star Wars series?
Yeah.
Because, they're really not showing enough Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill. Or any of the white women that are in main roles.
Well, you see, Shaun, it's the thin end of the wedge, Antilles.
Oh God!
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
And we're back, regularly scheduled programming.
Just a tip. So that was the last bit I wanted to talk about. Was there's a new movie coming out called Don Verdine. Right, and this stars, wait for this now, it stars Sam Rockwell, Amy Ryan, Jermaine Clement, Danny McBride, Will Forte, and Leslie Bibb. So, great cast. So this is, the IMDb tells us, right, that it's hired by an ambitious small-town pastor to find sacred relics in the Holy Land. A self-proclaimed biblical archaeologist comes up short, and his attempt to cover up his failure fuels a comic conspiracy from the filmmaking team behind Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre. So it's got all the right credentials anyway. One thing in particular that I thought was good was that Danny McBride plays the small-town pastor.
Born to do that.
Yeah.
Born to do it.
Yeah. So, I'm excited about that. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the trailer. There's only like a small clip out at the moment, so it's kind of left off. So. Anywho, right. So, let's get started. First of our movies. Sicario. Mike, tell us about Sicario.
Sicario is the story of an interagency cooperative effort by the US government to try and stem the flow of drugs coming into the United States from Mexico and places further afield, involving a starry-eyed young FBI agent who's not quite sure why she's here, and finds along the way that all is not as she had assumed it would be in the world of law enforcement. How's that, Steve?
It's pretty good.
That was great.
Yeah.
Do you know what Sicario means in Spanish by any means?
I know, but I know what it is in Latin.
Tell us.
Sicarius is someone who carries a knife.
Oh, very good. Hitman. That's what it literally means. Yeah.
There you
nice. You learned bastard. That's when you used to speak Latin on a daily basis. Back in the day, yeah.
It died out in my youth, with all these newfangled French and Spanish.
So, what do we think of this? What was it? Emily Blunt and what's his name?
Benicio del Toro.
Josh Brolin.
And
the guy who played Michael Weston in Burn Notice, Jeffrey Donovan.
Oh yeah, that was him. Yeah, cool. What you think, Shaun?
Okay, so usually, and this is how you know that the summer is well and truly over. Usually when I go to the cinema, it's for escapism, fun, adventure.
Yeah.
This was one of the first movies I've seen in a while in a theater there was very little light in this movie. It was very dark. And that's just a general comment. It's not a critique of it. But it was really gripping throughout, which I think is down to pacing and plotting. Like the opening sequence, kind of like the inciting incident that Emily Blunt's character is involved in, that was class.
Yes.
Like I really, really liked that. It was like, we're going to drop you in the middle of the action.
Yes.
You don't need to know anything right now, except this is where we are, and this is the evil that men do. Yes. And that really set up it was a nebulous villain, right? It wasn't one of those, find this one dude who you will meet periodically throughout the movie until you get him. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
It was a mission. It was a long form mission that had a lot of moving parts, which is why giving us that evil, that terrible, terrible image, the stuff that we saw in the opening act of the film,
the House of
was
Horrors.
so useful.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was so rough. And it's tough for a movie to make you actually go, holy shit, like this is actually getting to me, even though it is a movie on the screen. So I thought that was very well done. But I kind of don't want to like jump into this too early, but I guess I want to talk about Emily Blunt for a while, because she's never been a draw for me to a movie, because she's good at her job, but I've never been able to pinpoint like a scene where she did something that another actress couldn't have or wouldn't have.
Mike is shaking his head here.
You didn't see.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You didn't see her bending with Tom Cruise, did you? Nobody else could have done that. Nobody.
I just don't think so. I just find her a little bit generic. Like, she's kind of funny. She's not amazingly funny. She's good at action. She's not amazing at action. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is a plum part. This is a huge part.
Yeah.
She should have been the person everyone was talking about. But I think everyone's talking about Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin, because those are the people that I noticed were doing amazing work that no one else would have done the exact same way.
Right. I was more, not to cut across you now, but just to comment on this as we're talking about it, but I was more surprised at how well she played the character, and how large a part that she had. You know, I thought it was all going to be centered around Benicio, you know, and his character. And, I was just surprised that she had such a large part. And, like I said, I've nothing else to say. Like I said, she did it so well. And, she was the standout, actor in this for me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, because for me, and I actually was reading some a screenwriting thing popped up on my Facebook about Sicario.
Oh, right.
About Emily Blunt's character. That the headline was "The Disappearing Main Character."
Oh.
Right? Well, here's the thing, right? In screenwriting, what they say you should do, and there are movies that don't do this, but what they say you should be doing is have your main character, your protagonist, whoever it is that we are following most closely, they should be driving the action. They should be active in the story. And I'm not sure you could really say that about Emily Blunt's character at any point in this film. She is kind of being played in certain ways.
I would totally agree with that. It was the main thing that stuck with me in this movie. Was I didn't have a problem with how she acted the part. I had a problem with the tools they gave her. Like she can't decide the lines that she's given or the story that she's given on a particular day to shoot.
Right.
And I thought she was believable. I thought she carried her part quite well. But as you say, she's not the driving force in the movie. She is effectively the eyes and ears of the audience.
The proxy.
In order to discover what's happening with, Josh Brolin and Benicio and everything else that's going on. Which I thought was a big mistake, because you're geared up to kind of root for her or whatever, and then she's kind of left out to a large extent. Well, she's not left out, she's there, but she's not the one, doing stuff.
Okay.
Which I thought was a bit unfair on her.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steve? Are we barking up a tree filled with terrible things?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. No, I agree with you that she wasn't driving the action or driving the story, but I agree with Mike in that she did a very, very good job with what she had. Yeah.
John Bernthal also, it should be noted, he's good in fucking everything I've ever seen him in.
Right.
He played the like good old boy, the cop, the cowboy in the bar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great sequence for him. Like this was really well written. Like every actor here had so much to do. Even if, like, as we were talking about the apparent, like what I thought was a flaw with the plotting or the driving force stuff, everyone had really cool scenarios that they were in. Like, the interrogation sequence, like all that stuff, just so good.
It reminded me an awful lot of No Country for Old Men in terms of its tone. Just there's kind of a veneer of civilization above just pure evil that's going on all along that borderland, and I thought they nicely showed, I suppose, through Emily Blunt, the world that we want to see, which is all nice and there's rules and stuff, and then she gets a view into how shit actually works, down there.
Right.
Juarez, yeah.
And Juarez, how scary was that scene
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
go down to see?
They get stuck at the toll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah.
And it was so weird how cavalier everyone but her was being.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's that sequence where they have the literal cowboys that turn around to Josh Brolin and are like, yeah, you want to come with us? Like, and he's like, I mean, I guess I could.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, you drunk? And he's like, I'll sober up by the time we get there.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, grab a flask if you want it. It was just like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that was a lot of that work was Josh Brolin. And when Benicio del Toro was just being really fucking cool about it in a way that was standoffish, dickish, and kind of scary. It was so, I was so worried all of the time.
Yeah. Like if somebody told me we're going on a little road trip and we're going to need special forces bodyguards to get us there. It's like,
Remember, we're going to Donegal in a few weeks. So.
oh Christ, yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, we're not going to get out of there. Are we?
Not Juarez. If this movie taught me anything, look.
Yeah.
All we have to do is open our mouths and they'll know we're not from Donegal. Like.
Did anyone? Oh, actually, Mike, this one you usually this is your bugbear. But I think this was the first time that I've actually felt genuinely filthy watching something where everyone is filthy all the time.
Yeah.
They were filthy.
They were minging, weren't they?
Weren't they?
Yeah.
And even comment on it at one
Yeah,
stage,
yeah.
oh, geez, personal hygiene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really dirty, dusty.
Yeah, you could always smell it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't the typical good clean dirt that you usually get that's sort of pasted on by makeup artists just beforehand. It looked like they were like dunked in the sandstorm kind of thing, mostly.
Could have done maybe a few more flies around them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Especially in a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this isn't just your usual drug bust kind of movie. This is it's got a bit of Taylor Revenge. It's got a bit of sort of cops and robbers kind of chasey kind of thing. Yeah. It's got a bit of special ops. It's got a bit of like we're talking about that toll scene. It's kind of funny in places too, like the I'll sober up by the time I get there kind of comedy rather than laugh out loud stuff. Yeah, I think it was very, very well rounded, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Because I thought, this is going to be all right. Okay, we might get through this. Maybe is this being released on the back of Narcos been released? Because there seems to be a few things that like there's Cartel Land, which is a documentary, isn't it? It's out at the moment as well. That's actually something I meant to get to. But I thought this might be. Here's the start of a slew of similar stuff to Narcos, and it won't be as good. But it's. I'm not saying it is as good or not, but it's a different angle on the whole genre, I guess. So yeah.
How did you feel about the story? Like, let's not talk about the ending, but how did you feel about the ending? Because it's very different to what most, especially movies like this, where they try and catch bad guys. Yeah. It's a very different ending in terms of how the audience, I think, was supposed to feel afterwards to what it usually is. It wasn't simple, like.
Yeah, I actually really like the ending, because like you're always talking about characters changing, and at the very end, you're wondering, has she changed, or in what way is she changing?
Yeah,
and it's kind of left a little bit open.
Yeah,
but it's not vague. Like, it is specific. That there are options, but it's not like vague as if, well, we don't really know. It's like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do definitely know what they're doing, but it's not the kind of change that you would expect in a standard action movie.
No.
Yeah.
The
results are not the tidy results that we usually get.
You don't have a coward becoming brave or whatever.
Yeah, or everybody getting on the chopper and going off into the sunset.
It's a moral grey area, which I suppose is the theme of the movie.
Yeah. It's more realistic, I think, as well, because it's not really victory.
No,
it's there's no victory. Well, I guess there is and there isn't. I don't know, but it's like this is not a thing that you can fix. The world, Like the world is not a thing you can fix. Juarez is not a thing you can fix, and it's unfortunately seems to be pretty close to the truth.
Yeah. It was kind of shocking in places.
Oh God, yeah.
Now I don't mean like completely shocked and appalled horror movie kind of thing, but it's just the thoughts of it. It gets you thinking, and it's kind of the facts are kind of shocking. It might only be in dialogue. It might be an action that like we're talking about the first scene, but there's also a scene near the end that I really wasn't expecting. Just the suddenness and the sort of like, that's kind of what was going to happen, kind of thing. That kind of shocked me.
But that said, they kind of not disguised, but they didn't show as much as they might have shown.
No, and they didn't dwell on it either.
Like you definitely got the message what's happening, but it isn't in graphic detail like in a teen slasher movie.
Yeah,
or whatever,
for sure. Yeah. There isn't the gory procedure of of these things happening. Just
slow mo first person shots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I also liked the way they explored the nature of evil. At the beginning of the movie, it's very black and white. It's like, oh my God, what sort of an animal could do this? And then as the movie goes on, it step by step leads you into thinking, okay, there isn't just one set of animals here. It's
well, yeah. And you know what? That actually triggered. That reminded me of Narcos, because at the very start of Narcos, the DEA agent says, so something along the lines of, I'm not a bad man, and look, I did this, and if that makes me a bad man, wait till I show you what being a bad man really is.
Right, yeah.
And then at the end of it, he comes back to that, and that kind of reminded me of that actually. But you're right. Yeah, it's all in context, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely also reinforced the constant. Anytime I think about Mexico, I kind of have a panic attack.
Right.
It's just the
scares the shit out of you.
Thoughts of being dropped in Mexico on foot.
But you see, we're only seeing like in this, it's a US movie. But we're only seeing the bad shit about it. It's like if we only watched Mexican-made movies about South Central LA or hood stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd probably have a panic attack if I got dropped in a hood as well.
Okay. Point taken. Yeah. But you know what I mean. We're not seeing in any of the stuff that we've watched recently. We're not seeing the other side of Mexico.
I suppose it's not Acapulco or.
Well, Mark was there recently. Actually,
he was. Wasn't he?
He should have an opinion on this.
Yeah.
If only we had him on this podcast.
Yeah. I think I think he was in a lot of danger in his swimming pool with his margarita waiting at the side.
You guys should check out Book of Life, the animated movie, if you want to see a lighter side to the Mexican culture. I think it's
Book of Life.
It'd be good for anyone to check. Book of Life. It's an animated movie about the Day of the Dead. I'm sorry, I was just thinking about it and reminiscing and going, maybe I should watch that again so that I can equalize my opinions about like how to feel about certain areas of the world.
Well, there is something that's come out recently. Netflix, actually, this should have been news, but Netflix has just launched in Spain.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And so it's launched, and the two highlight programs are Narcos, and the other one is Club de Servos. And so that's about the owner of a Mexican football team dies of a heart attack, and then his kids are fighting over who should be the owner, or that kind of thing, and other sort of peripheral people as well get involved.
Right.
But it's a comedy, and it looks very good, and it looks very high quality, and I think we should probably review it because it's I think it's going to go on for many seasons.
Backing us into a little corner there, Steve?
But again, it's a perfect opportunity to see that other side, because they're as passionate about soccer as Colombians, so. Anyway, It's an aside.
Yeah. They don't shoot their goalkeepers though.
Oh,
Sorry, I had to go there.
I don't think that was official channels, Mike. Is there anything else to say on this before we mark it? No.
I don't know.
No?
I mean, it was pretty rich for discussion. We may even end up discussing it again, either in an upcoming podcast with a similar film, or at the end of the year for the awards show.
That's true. That's true. Sean, do you want to mark it?
I will. I think it's going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. The only thing preventing it from the hallowed halls of the 9 was the necessity, I guess, of the way that Emily Blunt's character was employed or used rather than active, you know?
Yeah. Mike?
I'm going to be a little harsher on it. I thought it was brilliant in so many respects. You know, Benicio and just the general feel of the whole thing was fantastic, you know, from start to end. But structurally, the Emily Blunt thing really fucked it. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Ooh.
That's harsh.
Yeah, it is harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in the strong 7 sort of area.
Okay.
Yeah. Not quite an 8 for me. Because I just found that that later shocking scene, as I was talking about earlier, I just thought it was a little bit disjointed from the rest of the movie. It wasn't that it wasn't a part of the story, but I just thought it was a little bit.
You know,
It
I
looked like
fucking love that scene.
I know, but it looked like
me too.
to me it was like it belonged to another movie. You know what I mean? It wasn't that it was a bad scene, but it was a great scene. But yeah.
Because I was sitting there watching, saying, "Please happen, please happen."
But yeah, and I'm going to give it a strong 7. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So next up, Blood and Oil. First of our TV. This is a new series, and it deals with a young couple who move to a town in Dakota, I believe.
North Dakota.
North Dakota, sorry. Which has an oil rush. They've just struck oil, and it's like the old days with a gold rush, except it's set in modern days with oil. And so they go over there, and they arrive pretty much penniless, and they have to work their way up. So this has the big star, Don Johnson. That's as good a reason as any to give this a look.
Yeah.
It's
a good reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Just think to yourself, Don fucking Johnson.
It's good to see him still going, like.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a long way from Miami Vice now.
Yeah.
And showing the generation gap.
Yeah.
Like, Shaun probably sees Nash Bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a funny
Don't
feeling
know who either of those people are.
It's another generation gap again.
I have a funny feeling those linen and silk suits don't fit so well anymore, but what can you do?
Probably not, but he still got it. So this is your classic throw a whole load of good-looking people into a drama of some kind.
Yeah.
The fact that it's called Blood and Oil, they should have just said it's basically Dallas, right? But
Yeah.
we're not calling it that because that didn't do so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not bad, you know. It's not terrible. Like the people in it are really, really good looking. And like when you've got really good looking people, a large bunch of them, like how bad can anything really be? And that's how I live a lot of my life. And it's nice to see it reflected in Blood and Oil. So for me, at least, I watch a lot of these kind of TV shows where the main premise is that good-looking people fall in love with each other.
Banshee, True Blood, so on and so forth. Yeah.
But
it's not in that category at all.
Well, good-looking people in this kind of budget.
Gossip Girl is the first one I thought of.
All right.
hang on a sec, Steve.
What?
There is no sign of an ambulance or a fire truck.
Okay.
Or an elevator.
Or an elevator, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Mark. We interrupted you.
So it's more in the school of Dallas, the remake, right?
Right.
Or what was the one with the Peach Pit? Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh yeah.
Gossip Girl as well, because your man Nate from Gossip Girl is the lead in this one, so it's hard to kind of overlook that. So it's that kind of a show, but it's I'm not 100% sure what demographic this is aimed at, and that's part of my problems with the show. So it starts off and takes a long time to get going, and it's actually a pretty good pilot after the first 15 minutes. Because a lot of the stuff that happens in the first 15 minutes, you're going, come on.
Yeah.
Stop trying to manipulate me.
For sure.
Once it gets past that and you kind of have a few characters to work with and the story starts to pick up, it does get pretty interesting. And then at the end, I found myself going, I know what this show is going to be about now. But it took till probably 45 minutes before I figured that out. And then there was a nice little hook at the end to make me want to watch episode 2.
Little hook. That was a huge hook. It's the best hook I've seen in a while, I have to say.
It's a good one, yeah.
Isn't it?
For sure it's a good one, yeah.
And the cut to black screen is just perfectly timed. Yeah. You're just like, oh no, whoa, wait, oh, come on, you can't do that.
Yeah. That was a big 20-ton container hook, wasn't it?
Yeah. What do you think of this?
I really liked it.
Did you?
Yeah. Because it's very cowboy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Reminded me, as Mark said, you got Dallas.
Klondike as well.
Klondike.
Yeah.
Longmire.
Yeah.
And also, I was feeling sort of the Colbys and Falcon Crest and that kind of thing coming in. You know, it was actually bringing me back to the good old days.
Dynasty.
Yeah. So you have lots of really, really good-looking people, as Mark said, being really nasty to each other. And that's and it's in a place with magnificent vistas and buffaloes just randomly kind of wandering around. Also, as Mark says, I think this is my copy Mark night. The beginning was weak. I was kind of looking at it saying, oh no, what are you doing? You got like perfect scene, and then all this shit is happening, and there's nice people that are just like, I don't want to see nice people. I want to see people being ugly. And
well, you know what the tagline is?
No.
Sometimes you got to play dirty to get filthy rich. That's like straight out of the mouth of Hap Briggs.
Actually, there were some great lines in this. Like, what was it? It'd been hammered harder than a Tulsa whore or whatever.
Is that a great line?
Yeah.
I would tickle Mike, all right.
It depends on the demographic you're in. But yeah, it was surprising because I thought when it first came on, I was like,
It's gonna be average at best.
Yeah. But it's definitely a kind of a hockey stick sort of a scenario. It starts off kind of meh, and then it ramps up towards the end.
Do you see this, Shaun?
I did indeed, Steve.
Do you have
this is a well-structured pilot that almost manages to hide the fact that it is a soap opera melodrama with a large budget. So the opening scene or sequence is pretty interesting. Like this is real life. North Dakota is currently going through an oil rush, which I only know because it was recently reported on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Talking about how there's no oversight at all. Mm-hmm. They were not prepared, not only for the legal like stuff that you need to deal with when you find a lot of oil, but also just the influx of people, jobs, yada, yada, yada. It is a dangerous place to be and an incredibly dangerous place to work right now. Mm-hmm. This, instead of dealing with that kind of stuff, just kind of goes, well, what if we just make it the Wild West? Which is fine. Like that's a tack to take for your show. That's fine. There's a opening sequence that should have had huge ramifications, but then it's just like, nah, it's fine. Like the story will now continue. which I thought was kind of dumb. It made me go, oh, I actually kind of liked that sequence, but because there were no consequences, I now presume there will be no consequences anywhere. And then there's a bunch of wheeling, dealing, and some stuff that I was like, I don't really care. But Don Johnson was pretty good. He's got a great stare on him. Like, I was going to keep going on with that. And then what happened was we got to a really cool sequence with some special effects where somebody cocks up, and you see what a small mistake can make happen on one of these oil fields. And that was really well shot. That was really cool. And I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Like, maybe this is a serious drama. And then there were some lines that were terrible. They were like the most like obvious on the nose things. Like, I think at some point somebody's like, you don't deserve to be my cousin or something like that, where I was just like, fuck off. And then I consigned it to melodrama, and I really didn't care what these fake people, these made up people did from that point on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Like we talked about already, hockey stick started very slow, and there was a great hook at the end. I don't think it's enough.
No,
I don't think it's enough for me.
No,
no. And like you said, I'm not a big fan of melodrama, and and as Mark said, it's a bit too like Dallas. They're a little bit too good looking. It's a little bit too contrived.
Steve, you can't be too good looking.
Okay, well then it's just I'll go with contriving.
Okay.
So
That's a legitimate concern.
So yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch any more of this unless someone comes back to me and says, "Oh my God, this got brilliant." So I think you've covered all the bases there before me. So I'm just going to finish with this is filler for me.
Steve,
yeah.
Could I throw one thing out there that it's just like
throw me a
interesting
curveball? Yeah.
Well, it's interesting texture just for the setting of North Dakota.
Okay.
There was a case recently. Well, there's a lot of cases like this, but there was one big one that got a lot of media attention in America. Some people died, like straight up died on an oil rig over there, simply because essentially just due to a lack of safety conditions, right?
Right. Yeah.
And one dude was injured horribly, a lot of burns, oil burns. And one dude killed himself afterwards, who was involved in the accident but didn't die.
Whoa.
It was a huge, terrible thing, right? And it made people examine the situation, the scenarios like of the safety a little bit, not much.
Yeah.
But what's happening out there is the people who own the oil fields themselves, are hiring other companies to work as middlemen to hire the workers who are actually going to work there.
Okay.
And the contracts that they're using are making the middlemen assume all liability.
Oh, of course. Jeez, yeah.
That's why they're there.
That's the main reason to hire them. Yeah, for sure.
But what that means is, like, the people who actually own the oil and the oil fields and the drilling and all that stuff technically don't have anyone employed doing any of the oil drilling itself.
Yeah.
Which means they're not at fault for anything that happens. And whenever any of these cases happen, the pitifully low amounts of money that the middle management usually settle for, they usually only end up paying 20% of it.
Oh.
Simply because it's supposed to be them going, hey, now, don't let anything similar happen again, or you have to pay the full amount of the original fine and whatever this new fine is going to be. And that keeps happening. The same circumstances lead to the same events, like burns or deaths or just like things going wrong. But no one ever comes after them and goes, hey, that happened again. You have to pay the full original amount. So it's a really, like, there's none of the protections that you'd think you would enjoy in America as a worker, just trying to make some money. It really is Wild West back there, except there are lawyers who have legalese to screw over people like they didn't really used to have back in the Wild West.
How is that different to any other business in any other state?
Well, there are regulations. There are unions. Because they're businesses that have been going on for like quite some time. You know what I mean? There are also laws in numerous states that prevent you from doing things like removing yourself from all liability, even though you own what is fucking going on.
Okay, so
You know what I mean?
It's a government issue then in the state government issue.
It's a government issue, but obviously the states don't want to do anything to make
Of
these
course.
companies not want to go there.
Because
Because North Dakota doesn't have much
coming
else.
in. Yeah.
Well, I
Weird.
think Sean's main concern is grounded in the fact that he doesn't own a 6-liter SUV. So he doesn't appreciate the price of cheap gas.
All right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's filler from me. Filler up.
Mark, fill her up.
I didn't hate this. Like I said, I thought it had a bad 15 minutes where I was kind of looking at it going, who are you for and what are you trying to do? But I think it got there in the end. It's a thriller for me.
Very good. Mike.
This actually was a double winner for me because I watched it and I kind of enjoyed it, and then I thought to myself, I must go back and catch up with Longmire.
All right.
So I'm going to watch that, and then I'm going to watch this. So I get like a twofer.
Oh,
Yeah.
good for you, Mike.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think this is going to be a show for the ages, but I think it'll be a little guilty pleasure for me. Get me through the winter. Yeah, so thriller for me.
Okay, very good, very good.
That was so gentle at the end.
Yeah.
It was like a nice little.
Sounds like he
That's
cares.
thriller for me.
Next up, we have the second of our movies, which is Navy SEALs versus Zombies. Mark, do you want to tell us about this?
I think the title just did that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not sure what else there is to say, really, but if you're planning on going up against zombies and you have an option on a faction to bring with you for support, you would think that the Navy SEALs would be your first choice. After having watched this B movie, I'm no longer sure. Since when did they allow overweight Navy SEALs?
I was going to say that the very first point, and it's just because he was there. Like, it wasn't just one guy. There were several of them. Weren't just overweight. They're borderline obese. They're doing that little run where that all SEALs do, where they keep the knees bent all the time, and they have the gun pointed out.
Yeah.
But you could see the guys that were still. You could nearly hear them going. There's no way they were SEALs. No way. Not in this life. Anyway,
Well, you've actually missed something important from the plot there, Steve.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember near the beginning they're told they're not allowed to bring any heavy equipment?
Yes.
So they brought the fat guy to use as a battering ram to get through to breach any doors they couldn't manage.
But they joked about that, right? And they actually brought the heavy equipment anyway and the grenades because they're SEALs.
Yeah.
We don't just right. So here, let me break down B movies for you, right?
Yeah.
A B movie takes a well-known, comfortable genre, and it provides you the elements, the tropes, if you will, of that genre in a budget fashion. Cheaper actors, sets, effects, and everything, right? So here we have 28 days later. If they happened to try 28 days latering the vice president who was trying to be extracted by a bunch of SEALs, right? That's the film, right? So, you can write it yourself. We could spitball a plot for this film right now, and we would be right.
Yeah.
There's no surprises anywhere in it, and that's
No.
that's a B movie. That's what it does.
Yeah. It's by the book.
So, I always struggle when we review B movies. Are you reviewing its ability to be a B movie? Or are you reviewing it as a film? And of course, this is why we have our B movie scale, which is out of 2.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping for a bit more, foolishly, from this B movie. Because, the plot, quote unquote, is exactly what I want from a real film. I want zombies and I want Navy SEALs. And I thought there was no way they could go wrong when they mixed those genres, but there was just nothing in this. It was just so bad. The terribly, terribly miscast overweight folk who presumably were trying to cast for a different film and wandered into the wrong line. And found, I can only imagine the horror on one of the first SEALs to go, spoilers people, is the incredibly overweight guy. And imagine his horror when they gave him a bulletproof vest that didn't protect all of his chest. Like, did he just look at this going, I'm not sure this is going to work? And they go, they're zombies, man. They won't shoot at you. And he goes, oh, yeah.
It was quite low
it's just
budget
bad.
though, wasn't it? Like even they weren't using like blanks; they were using digital. They were like airsoft guns with digital bangs going off,
Yeah.
the sparks. But also, do you think they spent most of the budget on a helicopter ride? At the
Probably.
start there.
Choppers don't come cheap.
They don't come cheap. But also in that scene,
A lot of those boys went without lunch to pay for that fucking chopper.
they were going in hot to the LZ, right? And did you notice that they did? There's no need for any chat while they're on the way in, but they're constantly making hand signals.
Yeah.
Right. That don't make any sense.
Were you a Navy SEAL?
Look,
Do you know Navy SEAL hand signals?
I don't need to be a Navy SEAL to know what hand signals mean. Right?
Talking through your hole. You weren't there, man.
But even
Mike, I
when
really
you
wanna
see
hear
them
your
like they're going
opinion.
down a corridor and they're like on their own, he'll stop and raise his fist up. But there's no one else there. What are you doing? It's just the way I was trained, man. Yeah. It's real B movie stuff, but what I'm not satisfied with it being a B movie, because B movies are normally kind of take the piss out of themselves a bit, they have a bit of humor in there, There's no real intentional humor in this. What are you shaking your head at? Explain yourself. What?
You just don't get it, Steve.
No, I'm not getting this. No.
B movies do not take the piss out of themselves.
I had to do a bit.
B movies are a serious thing.
You say that's Sharknado.
I mean, well, no, Sharknado is a thing in its own. But a real B movie is a tribute to its genre. And, I take issue with Mark saying that we could just spitball this. If we could, we'd have our own goddamn B movie.
I can give you 10 right now.
I think Mike is not giving us enough credit. I think we could each give him 10 right now.
So I'll just check up your IMDb credits after the, show here. Yeah.
But look,
I'm on that now.
You are.
But that said, I enjoyed this.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a big B movie fan, but I enjoyed this. The script wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible.
It was really moving.
There's a couple of times you sort of went, Jesus. But, it wasn't that bad. And it moved along nicely. There was good pace to it. Now and again, okay, the shots are a bit odd in that. I don't know if they were using different cameras, like different iPhones or what, to shoot different scenes, but they all looked a little bit different, But once you sort of left your A movie brain at the door and sort of went with it, it was quite enjoyable. Yeah. And another thing I liked about it was that I know there's only about 8 zombies in total in it. Right, but they're mixed up to look like there's lots more, like the Mars bar ad. Yeah. But it just moved along. It just moved along, and it was a lot of fun in places. Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah, I've had relationships like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark.
I'd said a lot of what I wanted to say about this. I just didn't think it was good. Like, it needs to. So you've got the US Marines in there, right? So do the Marines say "Hoorah"? Is that them?
I don't know what the SEALs say, but I think the Marines say "Hoorah."
Yeah, SEALs aren't Marines.
Oh, sorry, these are no. You're 100% right, and that's probably my issue. What do SEAls say?
You beat me to it.
Nailed it. Even with the time delay halfway across the world.
Anyway, there are a bunch of, what would you call them? Motivational or inspirational quotes ascribed to Navy SEALs. None of which really were around in a way that would get you revved up in this film. And they should have been really hammering that. There should have been, they should have all gone out there wearing, instead of camo gear, it should have been made from sewn together American flags. And they should have spent the entire movie saying, you know, we can't just do this for ourselves. We have to do this for America, and things like that. And like there was a lot of talk of not leaving a guy behind, and then the first time they had an option to leave someone behind, they just said, he looked fucked. Let's go.
Yeah, fuck him, we're out of here.
Yeah, like they were really inconsistent in their belief system. Like I'm no longer going to sign up as a Navy SEAL now. Particularly because I can't manage the noises that they make instead of saying "oorah." And like the zombie tropes were there. There were speeders, which is cool. Speeders are always tougher to handle. But you know what I was really fucking hoping for was I was hoping like that the Marines would come in, and they did a bit of this and it was good, and would just headshot left and right, and it wouldn't be single digits zombies causing them problems. It would be only when you get up into the hundreds and ammo started to run low that they'd have an issue. Because obviously a SEAL can headshot a zombie no matter how fast it is from at least 4 miles with a handgun.
In the dark.
And I would like to have seen more of that. Now, they were headshotting with ridiculous frequency, given the speed of the people running at them. But it just didn't do it for me, Steve. Like, you know, I didn't feel the need to fist pump even once.
Well, Steve, I think Mark has only one legitimate criticism there.
Really?
Yeah. And that is a slight deficit in terms of numbers. I would have liked to see a grand showdown with like 15,000 zombies against 4 SEALs.
Right.
And they obviously didn't have the budget to do that. Because those...
But at least they were fast zombies.
Yes, they were.
Yes.
Yeah. Quite intimidating zombies.
Yes,
yeah.
they were.
And, you know, like they made some very good calls. They had a journalist in there who could have been really annoying.
Yeah.
But they quickly relegated her to just looking good in jeans.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad. That is definitely a good, positive thing that the movie did. Right.
Then there's a couple of annoying people.
Yeah.
They get killed.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh my God.
Yeah. Because like the first time you see people like that, you say, I so hope you get killed. And then when it comes around half an hour later or whatever, maybe sometimes 45 minutes, you think, good job.
Yeah.
They have, you know, so much tech. That's the thing that I really enjoyed about it. Because, you know, they're sitting there kind of isolated and whatever, and it could just degenerate into, what's the word? You know, some kind of psychological examination of the human being under pressure, and maybe his reaction to his impending doom and that kind of stuff, and the philosophical implications. But instead, they have air support.
Yeah. That's where the other half of the budget went.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
And what particularly nailed this for me, you know, I did enjoy it. I appreciated it for what it was, and I could get over the budgetary limitations. But there was one scene where I just thought it came back to you talking about making fun of themselves.
Right.
There's one scene where one of the SEALs gets cut off, and he's going to go down fighting. The team can't get to him. Yeah. And then it pans down. He's stuck in a room, basically, with, you know, 1 billion zombies.
Yes.
And then it pans to the outside of the corridor. There's like 3.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Oh, man, I burst my shit laughing at that.
And he's like tooled up, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, they should have. I thought there was a great opportunity there to leverage the fact that they were dealing with Navy SEALs, like, because it's usually people that pick up like fire axes to defend themselves that run into trouble. You know, like if you look at The Walking Dead and the people who are doing really well with shit like crossbows, like, and these guys have the most expensive guns known to man and all the ammunition that you can find, like. Yeah. And they were struggling with small numbers. They should have been just dropping bodies, like.
Yeah.
Because there was one scene where there's a big long laneway, and you know that there's a load of zombies around. And I was here. This is the perfect opportunity now for a couple hundred of zombies to land, and the boys to just go mental shooting, and just to see, like, cut then a scene of heads exploding at ridiculous frequency, and then guys going, reloading and dropping down. Another SEAL moves in, takes the gap and starts shooting. They swap. They're like a well-oiled machine. And it's like that all the billions of dollars that the US government spends on defense has been funneled right into these 6 men for the express purpose of making the most perfect killing machines in the world. Only now they're applying it to things that are already dead. But they did none of that. They did none of that at all. It seems like these guys had guns in their hands by accident half the time. And they certainly weren't clear on things like mathematics. And as to how, one man with 40 bullets can do against 3.5 zombies.
Yeah. I would also have to take issue with your criticism of the casting.
Why?
Because the one big fear that I had when going into this movie was that the Navy SEALs would all be like Calvin Klein underwear models or whatever.
Okay. So you're saying they weren't all good looking?
Exactly. They got people who could be real.
Right.
And what I particularly appreciated was how they
movie actors.
how they delineated the chain of command. Basically, everybody's got a beard except for the guy in charge. So I always know who's in charge because he doesn't have a beard. Yeah. I thought that was really considerate on the part of the movie makers. For me.
That's true.
Yeah.
So the guy who was back at base controlling them was really bad.
Yeah. That was a great scar.
He had a scar in his eye.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you he got that scar fighting Cylons.
Oh, that's who they were trying to make him out as. Yeah. No, he was just ridiculous. He was possibly the worst actor in the history of actors. I really liked Larry, whose mother was Mary.
Yes,
he was a really good side character. I thought that guy has a future.
Yeah,
he could work on a good B movie.
Mm-hmm. And the CIA woman, she had really impressive Botox in her cheeks.
She did actually, and absolutely no facial expression. She was up there with Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Maybe she took her cheeks from Mark Hamill's arse. I don't know.
So I'm ready to mark it, Steve. If you're ready to hear it.
Yeah, go for it.
So we have a choice of 0, 1, or 2 for a B movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
0.
Oh.
No redeeming features.
He's got no
film.
soul, Mark.
Wow.
You of all people. Et tu fucking brute, my man.
No redeeming features.
Mike.
This is a solid fucking 2 for me. I enjoyed this from beginning to end.
It's a solid number 2, is it?
Yeah. No scutter here, man. Solid 2.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to come in at a 1 on this. Yeah, it's not the best B movie I've seen, but it's not the worst by far. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen awful Scutter.
We have. The Scutter factor.
I give a 1 out of 2. Yeah, in fairness. Yeah. Okay, so next up we've got some previews. Come to Bicycle near you. Okay, first one we saw, Star Wars, Episode 7.
It is really starting to look like they're going to make a good Star Wars film.
Isn't it? I'm starting to get excited.
Really starting to look that way.
Yeah.
And I learned the funniest thing, actually, a week or two ago. You might remember I was bitching about how all of the books I've been reading since I first saw Star Wars movies were now being made not canon. So for people who aren't geeks, what that means is canon is something that's part of the official fiction. So if you write a book and it's canon, any films that come after that can reference what's in your book as a real event, right? So it's all part of this big universe. And it's called the EU, the extended universe of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And for a long time, nobody was allowed to write books that were set around the Clone Wars because George Lucas had the plan of doing the prequels.
Right.
When he did the prequels, then the gloves were off and people started writing books in that time period. So it seems that it's only the books that happen after the last original film, Return of the Jedi. So anything after Return of the Jedi is no longer canon.
Right.
The worst thing is, they're the best books.
Oh.
Like, Timothy Zahn wrote some really good stuff. The Hand of Thrawn trilogy was really good. But anyway, I'm not going to bore our listeners. They're on here to hear about the film. So anyway, the stuff that happens back in the Clone Wars or in between the books, a lot of that is still canon. So if you haven't read The Courtship of Princess Leia, it's still worthwhile doing it. The key here to the Star Wars films, I seem to be the person who breaks stuff down for our listeners this week, so I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to break down how to make a good Star Wars film. And it's very simple. It boils down to one word, and that's respect. Respect the originals and don't make fluff films for kids.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome, Michael. So look at, filmmakers out there, if you're listening, you can take that.
They're the rules.
That's my gift.
Yeah.
Right? And it seems like they're starting to do that. They have a guy looking at the melted mask of Vader going, I'm gonna get them, boss. I'm gonna be true to the shit that you were up to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be one of those. Like, I'm gonna be Sith till the day I die.
Yeah.
And my lightsaber will be as red as the rest of them. And he seems like, he's a clone of Vader, which is unfortunate. They didn't need
But
to
not
do
literally,
that, I thought.
right?
No, not literally, Shaun. He has trouble breathing. He's wearing a breathing apparatus, and he's all in black.
Definitely.
He's a Vader clone.
Yeah.
He didn't need to be. You can create a new villain, and people can respect him, right? And that was the one warning sign I pulled from that trailer was they basically had a giant neon sign going, "He's basically Vader," pointing at this guy as he was looking at Vader's skull, going,
Yeah.
is that a lightsaber I see before me, the handle toward my hand?
Yeah.
It's either that or he's really embarrassed about his alopecia.
But the rest of it seemed good. I like the discussion about the Force. I like the way they use the original cast characters, bringing in Leia and Han, and a kind of a cameo of Mark Hamill's prosthetic hand, which of course isn't Mark Hamill's, but the rest of it I thought was good, and it gave me some hope that there's going to be some reverence.
A New Hope?
No, there is another.
Get the fuck out, Steve.
I really liked the narration in this one. We had some great stuff out of Mark Hamill in the earlier trailer, and in this one, it seems that Carrie Fisher was pulling the emotional duties, and that was pretty cool. And it definitely seems very serious. Not only taking the original trilogy seriously, but just in general, it seems to be a serious film.
Yeah.
Like, we have John Boyega's character seemingly say, I was, raised for and taught one thing, but I don't have anyone to fight anymore. And I'm like, fucking yeah, I want to watch this guy fight some people. Like, cool. He's a disillusioned stormtrooper. That could be cool.
Yeah.
And I'm really jazzed. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I like that I haven't seen the face of the main bad guy or of Luke Skywalker. Like, I don't fucking know what's going on. You know what I mean? Which, to me, in my fucked up brain, that is probably asking for too much, creates some really interesting possibilities about who those two characters might be.
Or are they the same character?
Wouldn't that be fucking ridiculous? Like, I would freak out, and it's like Luke is just like, yeah, no, I mean, I'm strong in this side of the Force too.
Yeah,
My father was right. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, can you imagine, like, Han Solo just like on his knees, just going, I don't believe it. It can't be true. Search your feelings, Han. You know what I mean?
I've got a bad feeling about this. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait. It looks right.
Epic.
It looks right. It looks true to, like Mark was saying, the originals, and none of that animated character bullshit that we had to contend with.
Like those CGI robots and fucking Jar Jar fucking Binks.
Well, it was Jar Jar Binks.
Hayden fucking Christensen.
I wonder. I wonder, will there be the same controversy over accents as there were in past movies? Remember, they were accused of being quite racist in places.
Being Ray.
Well,
yeah, I doubt
there's no
it's
Jar Jar
going to be
Binks,
as big
so-
of an issue since there's less aliens anyway.
Yeah. But we've got diversity. That'll cause some controversy. Oh, as you said earlier. Yeah.
It's a shame there aren't more white people I know, but sure,
I know,
fucking
yeah,
we'll take
yeah.
what we get, you know.
I have to say, I had an emotional response watching this.
Oh, God. We'll move on. So.
Yep. I actually had a lump in my throat. I was like, this is going to be the best fucking movie of the last 20 years. Everything I saw looks like it's going to be perfect.
So are you going to fly? Go to the IMAX in Manchester or something?
I'm not going to have to. It's going to be right here in my local cinema with 300 extra tickets.
Oh, yeah. It's a good point, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, book me in. Oh, speaking of tickets, did you hear all the servers crashed this morning when the tickets went on sale? Yeah. They were down until late this afternoon, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, okay, moving on. Rock the Casbah. This stars Bill Murray and Liam Lubani and some other people. So this trailer doesn't quite lend itself to doesn't quite describe what the movie's about, because from the trailer. What was your impression of the trailer, Mike? Actually, what was the story? What was your? I know it's an odd trailer, but what was the story?
Bill Murray is a funny bastard.
Well, yeah.
All I got from the trailer was this is something military. Bill Murray is obviously senior, and there's a war going on. Don't know what one.
Yeah.
And he's doing stuff that happens in war.
Okay. Let me read the IMDb description here. A down-as-look music manager discovers a teenage girl with an extraordinary voice while on music tour in Afghanistan and takes her to Kabul to compete in the popular television show Afghan Star.
Okay. I did not get that out of the trailer.
No.
What I did get was a fucking belly laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks funny. It looks funny. You know, Bill Murray's in it. He's funny without trying, so just looking at him, start laughing.
That was 63 seconds of gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah, I think we'll watch this. Shaun, did you see it?
Yeah, I wasn't as jazzed as you guys.
Oh.
I pretty much think that they're showing us a lot of famous faces and none of the story because the story's cack.
Oh, I see. Okay, this is the funniest scene. Just put that in.
Yeah.
Okay. I see your point. Yeah.
He's very young to be so cynical, isn't he?
Don't know where he
Rap
gets
music,
it from.
Mike. I blame the rap music.
Don't know where he gets it from. So
Okay, all right.
the next one is last one, In the Heart of the Sea. Now this stars Chris Hemsworth, Cillian Murphy, and Brendan Gleeson. And this is pretty much the Moby Dick story.
Yeah.
Based on the 1820 event, a whaling ship is preyed upon, a sperm whale stranding its crew at sea for 90 days, thousands of miles from home.
Don't ruin it. Jesus.
Yeah. So this looks like all action all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of whale fighting going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking aggressive.
Very
whale.
epic.
Yeah, epic indeed.
Huge scale.
Yeah. You excited, Mike?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking it looked like sort of a Star Wars whale.
A Star Wars whale.
Yeah.
You watched the trailers in a row, didn't you, Mike?
Yeah.
You did, yeah.
like if you could have a whale that could be a Death Star.
It's more of a Star Destroyer, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Imperial
fully
Star.
operational Moby Dick.
Ultimate power. It looks good. This looks really good. Like the scale of it is epic, and it's man versus nature or versus a whale with a fucking gripe. Very excited. Like the damage that it seemed was happening not only to the people in the ship but also the whale/whales. That makes me. I'm excited about this fight. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. And I'm almost certain that Chris Hemsworth's his little locket that he keeps around his neck,
Oh, yeah.
that's going to get really hot and burn itself into his chest. Mark my words. You heard it here first.
Why did you
And
say
he's going
that?
to take a bath. He's going to take a bath then and see the future.
I don't get it.
Explain it to him.
Indy. Indy.
Indiana Jones.
Well,
Well, everyone knows that the best Moby Dick film is actually Star Trek Next Generation First Contact.
End it, Steve. End it.
Oh,
it's too late.
Speaking of Death Star, did you hear that they scientists have speculated that they found the real Death Star during the week? Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Okay. Tell us, Mike.
They found some blips in the data.
Right.
and they called it a Dyson sphere.
Yeah. And, and then they said it was shaped like a donut.
So they've never seen anything like this star,
Yeah.
is what they said. And some of the team have suggested there could be an alien-made structure obscuring the star because it kind of disappears and comes back again, and it doesn't act like a normal star. Yeah, so it's only 1,500 light years away. So
Yeah.
Oh, good. So once we can travel at the speed of light, it'll only take us 3,000 years to make a round trip.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure that the Millennium Falcon could do that in 3.5 parsecs.
Oh, God.
And at the end of it, you'll find a Tim Hortons.
That was good. They're apparently the next step is to spy on them. Literally to see if there are any signals going around in that area.
That's
just
right.
in case there's any communications happening. Because spying is the best way to make friends out there in space.
Dyson sphere, indeed. Yeah, so they're going to point all the Mexican dishes towards that area and have an out listen.
Okay.
Yeah, eavesdrop and see if there's any communications going on.
How are they going to get their wrestling then?
I
If
know.
the dishes are going in there?
Okay, we'll end it there. So, so that's it from this week. So from Mike, Mark, Steve, and Shaun, stay classy.